So recently I've stopped engaging on LinkedIn, not because I'm anti social media. I'm actually quite active on social media and I'm working on content for a video podcast I'm launching later this year. So that's not it. And it's not because I think I'm too good for it. Lord knows there are plenty of people on LinkedIn with better resume, better pedigrees, a lot more impressive job titles than mine. No, it's more simple than that, actually. Because for me, it just doesn't work anymore. For all the talk about professional networking, LinkedIn hasn't helped me find real opportunities or reconnect me with people who actually know my work. And after years of posting, commenting, and collecting connections, one day I looked at my network and realized I don't know most of these people. 1,005 followers, imagine that, 500 plus connections, and I don't actually know who most of them are. And to be fair, they don't know me either, and that's okay. You see, LinkedIn loves to call itself a professional network. But let's be honest, it's more like a crowded room where everyone's presenting a pitch at the same time and nearly nobody's listening. People, they don't connect to collaborate anymore, they connect to collect. And what are they collecting specifically? The usual suspects: connections, followers, endorsements, and impressions. And yet, you can have thousands of connections and not a single one would actually pick up the phone for you if you gave them a call. It's networking, but without the network, visibility without opportunity, and engagement without actual relationships. And that's just useless to me because when you actually need help, when you're looking for the next role, those hundreds of likes and polite comments don't translate into a single real lead. Now, when I started seriously looking for work, back in April of this year, I realized something a little brutal about LinkedIn. It's great for people who already have momentum, the recruiters, the coaches, the self-proclaimed thought leaders who live on the feed. The ones that the people who keep repackaging the old ideas with new headlines. Business process reimagined, or some of those posts will, some of the ones that post that they know more about AI than AI itself, or something like that. They're not sharing insight, they're selling influence. And honestly, good for them. I mean, it works for what they do. But for the rest of us, our feed is a wall of noise. And even when you try to post something real, something honest, it gets buried under the mountain of algorithm friendly content. The stuff that performs well isn't necessarily good, it's just optimized. I could spend hours writing thoughtful posts about my career journey, and I have, and maybe a few people would click like, but none of that actually brought me closer to a real conversation or an interview or a job. But you know what actually did? Texting people I've worked with, emailing old colleagues, picking up the phone and giving them a call. Because those are the people who actually know what I can do, not just what I say I can do online. Now, I'll give LinkedIn this: it's not completely useless. The one time it truly helped me was when a colleague I hadn't heard from in 24 years sent me a direct message through LinkedIn, because he didn't have my phone number or email anymore. That message led to a real opportunity, and I'm grateful for that. But let's be honest, it's almost laughable that LinkedIn's most effective job finding feature, at least for me, was the direct message feature. And it only worked because it was the guy's last resort. I mean, he couldn't call me, he couldn't text me, he couldn't email me, so he sent me a message on LinkedIn. And honestly, that might be the most practical reason for most of us to stay on LinkedIn. Just in case someone we used to work with doesn't have our number and needs to reach us. And then, there's the part that no one likes to talk about: ageism. You see, if you're over 40 or 50, LinkedIn starts to feel like a party where you really weren't invited. You can polish your profile, sure, post your insights, and stay current on every trend. But the truth is, the platform isn't built for you. And, I'll be honest, it's something I've had to get used to. It's built for visibility, not credibility. And experience doesn't trend, unfortunately. You can have 30 years of solid work behind you, but the algorithm, and let's be real, a lot of recruiters scroll right past you in favor of someone who looks like they just walked out of a branding seminar. The posts that go viral aren't about expertise, they're about engagement, and we all know that's not the same thing. So I stopped chasing it. Instead of feeding the algorithm, I went back to what actually works: real relationships. I started calling people, checking in, having coffee and drinks, either virtually or in person. Most of my network doesn't live in Florida, by the way, where I'm based right now. But I'm doing this not to ask them for favors. I'm doing this because I want to reconnect with people who've actually seen me work. Those who know what I bring to the table. And you know what? Those conversations led to more real opportunities than anything I've ever posted online. LinkedIn made me visible, sure, but my network, the real one, made me viable. So I've stopped engaging on LinkedIn, at least the way I used to. I don't check who's viewed my profile. I don't post for reach or reactions anymore. But every now and then I'll still share something like this video. Not because I care how many people see it or whether it bumps my visibility score, but because it might help someone out there, someone facing a problem they've never had to deal with before that I have. Right now, I've got about 3 or 4 former colleagues who are out there looking for work. When I share their posts, I'm not doing it for reach. I'm doing it so they can get a little more exposure, a little more visibility. Now imagine a LinkedIn where most of us did that, where people helped each other find work instead of just working on helping ourselves. Because that's what LinkedIn can be for all of us: a place where people actually help each other, not just sell themselves. And honestly, that's why I don't engage like I used to. Not because I've given up on LinkedIn, but because I expect more out of it. I still believe it can be better. If more of us used it to lift each other up instead of showing off, maybe, just maybe, it actually could be the professional network it claims to be.